Hello, it's me, Milex, back at again with another one of these paper commentaries. I even have my Pokemon plushies here, because there's currently cleaning going on, so my stuff is everywhere. Anyways, so I'm here to talk about GOC Phantom, specifically in the game. The SCP Last Defense, I think it was called, because recently, because GOC Phantom is an operative in SCP The Last Defense, which is a game on Roblox. Okay, look, let me just explain all of this. Okay, there's a game on Roblox called SCP Last Defense where you defend waves of monsters and stuff. It used to be called SCP Daybreak based on the Daybreak SCP. I mean the SCP when the day breaks, and there upon completing I think 20 or 30 waves of Endless, you would become GOC worthy, which gave you access to the GOC Phantom, which is an operative, which are basically like the game's version of classes or kits or whatever you want to call it. It's basically like the ultimate reward for the hardest challenge in the game. I got it back when the game was still in Daybreak, but prior to the rework and rebrand that turned it into Last Defense. But I actually only was able to afford the Phantom when the Last Defense released, because that's when I started getting back into the game and grinding it again. And I eventually got enough cash to buy GOC Phantom. His old version is very good. I'll run you down how the old version works. He used to have 2 revolvers, nullifiers, dual nullifiers they were called. Pretty decent stat-wise. They shot pretty fast, dealt pretty good damage overall. He had an RPG ability, which every, I think, 2-3 minutes allowed him to add an RPG into his inventory with one single powerful rocket. And anytime you were in a pickle, you could shoot it, boom, all the enemies are dead. Very, very strong. On top of that, every time he gains a certain number of kills, his max HP increases by like 5. So already pretty strong. And of course, his nullifiers also had an ability to instantly kill any non-large enemy. So any enemy that wasn't a mini boss, I'm pretty sure is what the technical term would be. So sounds pretty good, right? Well, a lot of people apparently didn't like GOC Phantom. Not entirely sure why. Honestly, he's unbalanced, I guess. The RPGs are very powerful, but very fun. And to be honest, in the newer version, I think he's a lot more balanced to the version prior to the rework. Because now, and in this reworked version, SCP Last Defense, there are armored enemies, which, well, they basically have an armor rating that prevents any damage to the original regular health. So you shoot them with even a rocket, only their armor bar gets depleted down to 0. Then you have to finish them off, and with their normal health. So yeah, I'd say it was pretty balanced. On top of that, the maps in the reworked version are a lot bigger, meaning the large explosion radius of the RPG is a lot more justified. So all in all, GOC Phantom went from incredibly broken prior to the rework to pretty balanced prior to the rework. Though a lot of people and even the devs were rather unhappy with its position in the game being rather outdated compared to the other operatives. I don't really understand what they mean by that, but yeah, so they were planning to rework it because of that. I was hopeful but a bit skeptical about the effectiveness that this rework will be, because, well, I didn't know anything about the rework, but in general, there's a pretty negative stigma around SCP games, at least in my opinion, where they aren't particularly good at executing ideas. This wasn't the case of great idea, terrible execution. This is terrible idea, even worse execution, because let's go over the changes. So, GOC Phantom has had his nullifiers, his bread and butter. Let me draw them. I don't know how to draw revolvers, and my arm's getting tired. His dual nullifiers, they are gone. No more starting weapon. Well, no more unique starting weapon. You have to get regular starting weapon just like all the other units, operatives, which generally will be an assault rifle of some kind. I don't freaking know, whatever you want, I guess. But whatever, right? Maybe because they have replaced it with the brand new gun that I don't remember the name of, but I hate it so much I don't even remember how to draw it. It was like G something something, whatever. It's currently the strongest gun in the game. Whoa. Very powerful. It's meant to be muscles. I'm too lazy to draw this properly. It's meant to be the strongest gun in the game stat-wise, and it is. But it's so utterly boring. Like, you replace probably the coolest gun in the game with a stupid little assault rifle. Not to mention, it works worse with the special ammo types, as with its faster fire rate, it consumes more of the special ammo. Stat-wise, obviously, it's better than the revolver in terms of DPS, stuff like that, but the revolvers were just cooler. Oh, and of course, it doesn't have the revolver's nullifier ability. In fact, it has no ability at all. It's just a boring assault rifle. Wow. What a reward for the hardest, operative to get in the game. Just slightly better stats. Wow. And of course, this is no longer a starting weapon. You need to get 100 kills in order to get one of these items. Of course, you can distribute this to your team, but that's not really... yeah, it helps the team, but it's not particularly fun. It's not anything unique. So, yeah. And of course, the RPGs, they have been replaced. The RPGs have been replaced into an ability that costs 15 kills, and it is to call down an airstrike on whatever selected location that you aim towards. It sounds powerful on paper until you realize, first of all, the airstrike still doesn't bypass armor, which is one of the most complained about features of the RPG, even though personally I think it's balanced. It has even less radius than the rocket launcher, and it has a startup time, so you can't really use it as effectively. It's much less versatile. You can't stockpile it like you can with the rockets and burst them all out in rapid succession, because I'm pretty sure it has a cooldown, and of course it has the 15 cost, while the rockets were free. It was just on a timer-based cooldown. So all of these are already looking pretty bad for GOC Phantom. Of course, they also added and to justify this, they added a very useless feature, the jetpack. So you might think, wow, jetpack, that's a lot of mobility, right? It sounds really cool, right? Well, on paper, yeah. In practice, I don't think the devs know how a jetpack works, because all this thing does is send you up by a lot and send you forward by a little bit. Now, you might think, oh, vertical mobility, isn't that great? Because no other operatives have vertical mobility this good. But the thing is, in SCP Last Defense, there's not much need for vertical mobility. The most use you can get out of this is escaping enemies, getting onto the high part of highway if you're guarding the flank, getting onto the wall on that outpost map for maybe a better vantage point, but you don't really need to do that because you're not a sniper. That's it. Just these free These three very niche options. That's it. That's all you can use the jetpack for. I mean, like, I guess you could use it to jump up into the air and get like a nice vantage point on enemies, but that's not, like I said, very niche, very stupid. The fact that Interceptor's front flip gets you more horizontal coverage than the jetpack, it's embarrassing. This is the hardest operative to get in the game, and yet look at what the rework's done to it. It's turned it boring. It's turned its most powerful burst damage option weak and unversatile. It's given it a completely useless new feature. What is this rework meant to accomplish? All it has done is make the Phantom worse. And I made a suggestion to this the SCP Last Defense Discord. Apparently, this has been something the community has been wanting for a while, which got me like, hello? You seriously want this over this? You want a boring assault rifle over akimbo revolvers? Really? Now, the SCP fandom is very weird. I mean, like, come on, they have a thing, they have a dude called Maz Hatter. What the hell does that even mean? Like hazmat stands for something, you know? What the hell does Maz Hatter stand for? Goodness gracious. But whatever, that's not the point. The point is, apparently this assault rifle has been a thing the community has been wanting for a while. And I don't get it. I don't get it. But, well, now they're apparently regretting it, unsurprisingly. Because, you know, it's boring. It doesn't have an insta-kill ability, which, I mean, granted, the nullifier's insta-kill ability wasn't particularly useful in the newest version either, but it was better than nothing. It was free, at the very least. So, yeah. Look, and I've only, like, one sentence for this. Look how they massacred my boy. Just look at how they massacred my boy. You seeing this shit? You seeing this shit? You seeing this shit? You seeing this shit? It's this is terrible. Sorry. I just wanted to bash your table. I really wanted to do that. Anyways. Fix it. Just straight up revert these changes. Revert the Phantom back to his old version. I'm not even joking. Like, I get that hard work and development time was put into this rework, but all that hard work and development time was in vain because your hard work and development time was spent going backwards, just making the class more boring instead of making it better, which is, you know, stupid. Now, I did talk to some of the community about this. Apparently, the owner or lead developer, I don't care, I don't know, Homb or whatever, was responsible for this god-awful rework. Apparently, a lot of people in the team went against this change, but he still went ahead with it anyway, or like they had a lot more unique ideas and he still went ahead with it anyway. That's none of my business. Fix your freaking development team or something. If communication is something you're struggling with, then it sounds like you have a pretty ass development team. No offense, but come on. How does a team of people fuck this up this bad?